I too would like to thank you all for coming this evening. It's a huge treat for me to be able to talk to a fellow sculptor, even more of a treat to talk to a fellow woman sculptor. It's not the easiest profession in the world. It takes guts and tenacity, and I have been an admirer of Abigail's work for a couple of years now. I walked in, I can't remember the gallery, but I walked in and there was this extraordinary horse made out of skin, and I was blown away. I couldn't wait to meet you. And every piece I've seen of yours since then has just been a thrill. And it's really lovely, and thank you for coming to talk to us this evening.
Pleasure.
So we have questions which we ask all the people that we invite here, so that our archive has a lovely continuity about it with the same questions. So I'm going to launch straight in, Abigail, and ask you, for Veil and Vessel, we paired your work with Kay Gasei's paintings. We've heard that this seems like an unlikely pairing, but thematically and visually, we do think it works. Do you have any thoughts about the exhibition that you'd like to share?
So I was thinking about, during Kay's talk, actually, it was interesting because it was very much about scratching the surface of what was happening behind his work, you know, what's going on psychologically for him. And I was thinking about how we both have in common this kind of veiling. So there's something that's happening behind the surface of our works. And I was thinking about, you know, Kay is kind of digging around, trying to access sort of signs and symbols that I felt, you know, they kind of conjure up a similar kind of sign and symbol that I'm working with, but he's using it in a very different way. So I sort of felt that I'm just looking at my notes because I have to use notes. You won't get much out of me otherwise. But it's just allowing those things to emerge, and I was thinking that, you know, when you're dealing with these kind of undercurrents, these subconscious things that are happening, and yet you're actually just, you know, there's like surface layers. So you've got a kind of camouflaging that goes on. And I think he talked about it in his talk, where there's so many different aspects to your work, but you can't share all of it all at once. And actually a lot of it is deeply personal, and you don't want to share too much of it. So you kind of bop along the top, but all that stuff starts surfacing. And what I felt was, you know, this kind of veiling, you know, if you think of the vessel as sort of your inner experience, your inner being, your inner world, and then your veil, I felt that actually both of our work very much does that. I mean, I can't speak for Kay, because if you were here at the talk, you'd understand what I'm talking about in reference to his. But with regards to mine, you know, there are different layers of interaction with the work. So I can say that my work is about interconnectivity and entanglement, and about my relationship with other. So other could be humans, or it could be plants, animals, the world. But there's other stuff too, you know, the stuff that's really deeply personal. So I felt that it's interesting how some of those signifiers come up in both his and mine, and you get these kind of markings, like these markings. It's just quite interesting how there is something that links us, even though it may not be immediately obvious.
I think that's one of the most beautiful things about putting artists together, is you start making connections where there were none.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very good answer. And it leads directly on to the next question, which is, your works all embody symbolic or mythical narrative. What about these themes in particular interests you?
So, I mean, myth is something that you can't make up, so it kind of surfaces. And again, it's really interesting in terms of, if you think about psychosocial, you know, a myth is something that will be happening and appearing within cultures. In a similar vein to what I was just talking about, actually, you know, if you're working, if you're, you know, for me, the work is so deeply personal, but it's also so universal. So I'll give a little example of how these sculptures came into being. I was in France, and my mother had become very ill whilst we were out there. We were on holiday, and very quickly it seemed like she's terminally ill. Oh my God, you know, what do we? There was a sort of a state of panic. There was a real crisis, and because my family had had to go home, apart from me and my mother, it wasn't safe for her to travel. I had to find a way of grounding myself. And I haven't lived with my mother since I was 17, and it was a real challenge for me. And I needed something other than her. And so I went out into nature and I did these drawings. I kind of, I don't, you know, you never know what makes you do things, do you? You just do them. It's crisis moment. I need some kind of reassurance. I'm going to open myself up to nature. And I started doing these drawings as a form of scrying. I was using my imagination as the crystal ball. So like, I like thinking of it like my eyeballs were like the crystal balls. And I started doing these drawings, which were very much about tapping into something that felt really universal. And I just became really interested in them and thinking, gosh, there's something here that I'm scratching about at. And I kind of realized that there's this kind of complexity of relationship with nature that felt like it matched the complexity of relationship that I was having with my mother. It was very much, I love you, I want you to survive, I want you, but I want to keep you back, I want to keep you out, you know, you cut your hedges, you know. But the environment where I was just so fertile. It was in Provence. It was kind of just down the road from where Van Gogh was interned. So you can imagine the trees, huge and soaring. And when I got back to the UK, eventually my mum was fine, she survived. I was in my studio and I thought, I'm going to use a similar technique from the drawings. I'm going to use the scrying to create these works that are, you know, that really come from that moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. I desperately want to go drawing with you. Let's go to the woods. I'd actually like to add in a question here, because I want to know, and it's not on the list. I wanted to know, are your materials an inspiration or a necessity? Do you surround yourself, or is it a bit of both? Do you surround yourself with stuff so when you're in your studio and you're going through that process, the material is a way of achieving it, or sets you up? Sorry.
No. It's
Sculptor's question. Sorry.
Question. No, it's interesting because it depends. Like with hair and cow, you know, the materials would. Everything came from the materials. Yeah. So I was thinking, right, what, you know, I wanted to make these bodies, and I mean, I can feel it in my hands now. You're all going to think I'm nuts.
No, not at all.
I can feel it when I think about it. I thought, I have to make these bodies. I have to put these skins back on these bodies. And it felt really ritualistic, really primal, really like, you know, here I am, this, I'm in my 50s, my body is ceasing to reproduce, it's ceasing to create bones of its own, and I'm making them with my hands. This is crazy. And I felt utterly driven to do that. With this, I'm very careful about the materials I use. I like to use materials that I can always reuse. So all of this stuff, the biopolymer, for a start, you can throw it on a compost heap and it will dissolve. Or you can melt it back down again and you can reuse it. And even I use all domestic materials. So I've got plumbing materials in here.
Excellent.
Which it's reacting to the heat, actually, this one. My next step is to learn how to weld and everything so that they don't start to go like that when they're hot. But so I feel like I'm attentive to my materials in the sense that I don't like to throw anything away, and I can reuse anything when it goes wrong. Like the sculpture that I did on Temple tube station that I took to pieces, and actually some of it will be in here. You know, there'll be all sorts of stuff in there. So I like that. I like to have a very small rubbish bin because it's hard, isn't it, to make big work. If you make mistakes, it's like,
oh, you cannot let mistakes hold you back.
And
Mistakes are our lucky breaks.
Whereas, your
materials sing, though. They always seem so appropriate and so well thought through. I appreciate it hugely. Next question. Who gave you the courage to embark on a life as a professional sculptor?
Yeah, it's interesting. Do I give the long or the short answer? How much time have we got?
You're a great talker. You can talk as much as you like.
Well, I mean, we were kind of talking about it earlier. I had a shady start to my education. I got kicked out of art college, which was quite a thing.
It's so hard to believe.
Yeah. At 19, and then life just took hold, because that wasn't a good thing, as we were talking about. You know, things tumble, don't they? When you fall sometimes in life, you just keep going. It took me a long time to recover from that experience, and I ended up with 2 children and trying to get out of a difficult relationship that I was stuck in for 11 years. And then I lost my father, and I lost him quite quickly when I was only 28. And it kind of flipped my life on its head. It was the kind of catalyst to get on. But I had 2 children, so I had to make very clever decisions about what I was going to do. So I studied film, or I studied digital arts, should I say, and I ended up working at Sadler's Wells, and then I ended up being a video for life performer. I just had like 20 years of working in video and film. And then I just suddenly, something happened where I just thought, I just can't do this anymore. I literally, something was waking me up at night. It kept waking me up at night, and I knew something was going on. I was thinking, oh. And I used to go out for these long walks, just as the sun was rising, and taking a sketchbook, because I was thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I started drawing all the cows, and I was thinking, oh God, okay, something's really surfacing. And it just became really obvious that I had to change what I was doing, get away from the digital stuff, and get back to where I was when I was 19. And I just kind of segued out of filmmaking, weirdly, into textile design, which sounds like a jump, but it was because my husband, I'd met someone else by then, is a textile agent, and it enabled me to make money but without the effort that filmmaking had. So I was able to kind of start practicing sculpture, and then within sort of 5 years, I thought, right, I'm going to apply to college. I'm just going to do it because my lovely friend Isabel, actually, we call it the RCA stinky cheese. She passed me the stinky cheese. She said, go to the RCA, try and get into the RCA. Anyway, I got in, thank goodness. And yeah, I graduated in 2022. So it was and I mean, I feel like I'm in my zone now.
You
As
sure
terrifying
are.
it is.
You sure are. I had a feeling when I got to know it, and I think RCA. I think you had the relief of suddenly being on a course where everybody is going to be a sculptor, and nobody's in doubt. You're just getting on with it, and being in that studio full of people who are on your journey is such a relief. Whether you like what they're making or not, it's just
absolutely,
Does your practice include other mediums or disciplines beyond sculpture?
Yes,
No,
definitely.
that's not looking back.
Yes, definitely. Not filmmaking, by the way. I can't. I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to digital cameras. I am absolutely in love with drawing. I really, really enjoy it. That's why my fingers are so black. I'm kind of developing a whole practice of drawing. I know drawing's really important to you too, isn't it? Yeah. But I also do a bit of printmaking, and I just kind of like to approach it from a sculptural angle, where I do printmaking in a really weird way, and I do drawing in a really weird way, and it feels completely like it's sculptural somehow.
Very common for sculptors to say that.
Yeah.
Do you make the prints in your studio, or do you go?
Yeah. So I've started doing these big drawings with my hands. Actually, do you know Martin Morris? Martin Morris, that's his name. Royal Drawing School.
I probably do. I'm not brilliant with names.
Yeah. Anyway, I went on a residency with the collab just recently to what's it called? Morecambe Bay. And he gave us a day's teaching, and it was amazing. He just kind of opened up the fact that I can draw with both hands. And actually, I don't need a pencil or a graphite stick. It was literally just dust, drawing with dust. And I'm getting into sort of mixing media. So I'm putting linseed oil into it and stuff like that. And it's just becoming something else now.
I noticed you've been using walnut ink.
Yes.
Is that from the gall?
Yeah.
Did you make that?
No, I didn't. I didn't. It's just it has this sensation of, it has a similar kind of feeling to these flesh like, my kind of flesh like colours.
Delicious.
And it just sits well for me. And in fact, these have walnut ink in them as well. I quite like the alchemy.
Yes.
There's a little bit of witchiness about it all. Dare I say it?
Fantastic. We love a witch.
At the stake when I leave.
We'll have none of that. Beautiful answer. What is one piece of advice that you would like to offer emerging artists?
All right, okay. I think it's holding on to being you, isn't it? It's like digging and really digging. I mean, that for me is where the work is really, is being able to go deeply into your interior world and understand yourself enough to be able to just keep going, I think, and finding people, especially women, if you're a woman, if you're a female artist, finding women who can, just it's not encouraging, because you know you don't want to constantly be feeling like you need encouragement, but people that know and trust you and support you feels essential.
People who are on the journey that you're on, or who have been on the journey that you're going on. It's quite upsetting, because it sounds as if you're anti-male when you say you're pro-female, and that's not it at all. It's just the joy of all the unnecessary conversations don't have to happen. It's a deep understanding, and it's a confidence from seeing that, you know, you've trod this path, I can tread this path.
Absolutely.
It can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I was at the RCA, one of the first things, you know, I was an older person, lots of young people, lots of, you know, their work was very of a kind of theme in a way. Lots of people had a similar kind of look to their work. And I remember someone saying to me, "Oh, your work's just really weird." And I thought, I just thought, wow, okay.
I'll have that.
That's quite rude. And then I thought, actually, it really is. And then I thought, I looked up the word, you know, the meaning, really deep meaning behind the word weird. And it's just become, I think, it's basically like the Weird Sisters. If you think about WYRD, it's being able to see something, like peep into the future. It's like fateful, and it's weird, it's out of time. And I just thought, I am holding that. That's mine now.
I'm so sorry. I might need that on a t-shirt or above the studio door.
Yeah, I am
Can
weird.
I join and be a weird sister, please? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So your advice would be,
it would
find
be
yourself.
and if it's whatever it is, your version of weird, hold the shame of whatever it is, and make it yours. Own it, you know, really make it yours.
Beautifully said.
But it doesn't fit necessarily with everyone else. You just have to deal with that.
But that's how it is.
Yeah.
Can you speak a tiny bit about why you think the AGBI is relevant in the contemporary art world?
Wow, well, I mean, these are difficult times, right? And to be able to be somebody who is making work that has integrity to yourself, you know, not making work that fits, that will go into a commercial gallery and just be, yeah, this is great, you know, and bounce along like that and make loads of money. If your work is weird, if it's off kilter and money is hard, something like this, you know, you do need to have a safety net, you know, sometimes, especially if you have children, if you have unstable times, you know, that, I mean, I didn't know about AGBI until Abby asked me to come here. And I just thought, wow, you know, my father had a breakdown when I was little, and he was rendered completely immobile for years and years.
So sorry.
And that's why we moved from London to the Midlands, so it's cheap, and he could recoup, and you know, those backups are so important, you know, for families. It's everything. You know, you can lose stuff. You can really lose stuff when you melt, you know. The life can be troublesome. So yeah, AGBI, I'm in love with it.
I'm so glad. I'm a complete devotee.
Yeah.
And the idea that artists support artists is something so profoundly right about that.
Yeah.
And it isn't always money that's needed. It's sometimes companionship, and it's sometimes merely recognition of a career or an endeavour.
Yeah.
But it means so much to somebody on their uppers that a group of their peers have said, we'd like to help you.
Yeah.
We recognise you, we see you. Because after leaving art school, it's very easy to become isolated.
Absolutely.
You're in your studio,
Yeah.
you're filthy,
Yeah.
you don't talk to people.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the world can just...
And people just sort of think, what are you doing?
And they say, what do you do? And you say, well, I'm an artist. They say, oh, what fun. You say,
It's
oh,
exactly
very,
right.
if only.
It's not fun.
Yes, but what do you really do?
Yeah.
Mm.
What's your real job?
I think there was something I wanted to ask you. Did you and Kai know each other before this exhibition?
No.
Because it's such a beautiful and friendly pairing.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't tell if you were old colleagues or it was a new connection.
I mean, we had a good chat on the first day we met, and we had a, I don't know, it was nice, wasn't it? We had we literally just went blah, blah, blah.
Well,
we
it's not
both
surprising,
just laid
is
it
it?
all out on the table, I think.
I wanted to acknowledge Kai's presence
Yeah.
because we are surrounded by his beautiful paintings as well.
Yeah.
And there is a dialogue going on.
Yeah.
Abigail, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy listening to you. I could talk to you all night. And I wonder if anybody in the audience has a question for Abigail. Don't be shy. No questions?
He's got one.
Not questions as such, but I want to say thank you for talking so openly. And also thank you for being weird.
My pleasure.
It's nothing
As much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Abigail.
Thank you, Nicola.